So frequently people ask me what occurs to make a baby get infected and have that infection affect the baby after they're born. There are many answers to this question, and as a newborn intensive care specialist, that's what we study and that's what we know. That's why it's important to have the records evaluated at LawMD by people who know what they're talking about. So let's break this down a little bit. Infections can occur right around the time that the baby is delivered, or they can occur before that. And there are a variety of infections that can occur. There are viral infections as well as bacterial infections. Let me give you an example of one that occurs right around the time of delivery and within a couple of weeks before delivery. That is an infection that is a bacterial one that's called Group B Streptococcus, or GBS. Group B Streptococcus is something that is carried in the normal bacterial flora of the mother, and it can end up affecting the baby either before the baby's born or immediately after the baby's born. So the doctor has to be really, has to understand and be very cautious about Group B strep. So what is done in most obstetrical practices is Group B strep is cultured for at certain times before the baby is born. They culture for it, and if it's positive, then they treat the mother with antibiotics before the baby's born, and usually that takes care of it. But things happen with regard to that culture. Sometimes, for one reason or another, the culture is not done. Sometimes the culture is done and somebody doesn't look for the result, and the result is positive, but nobody knows. Sometimes the culturing is not done properly because somebody is doing the culturing that doesn't know how to do it or where to do it. So there can be various ways that the Group B strep testing is not done properly. Sometimes a Group B strep testing is done properly, there is a positive result, but the antibiotics aren't given for some reason. Maybe the office for some reason doesn't know what has happened with the culture and nobody checks. Well, what happens if a baby is born with Group B strep? That can be extremely serious. The baby can be born with literally with a high temperature and be very sick right from the start. Can have low blood pressure and have to go to newborn intensive care immediately. Sometimes those babies do not survive. The Group B strep can also go into the brain and cause a meningitis, and that of course can be very serious to a newborn. So Group B strep infections are severe, and there can be many times mistakes with what goes on with the baby in utero and the mother before the baby's born that cause serious problems with the baby. Let's go into one other kind of infection that is a viral infection, and that also can be the cause of significant brain injury to a baby, and that is infection with herpes simplex. As you probably know, herpes simplex is an infection that occurs as a sexually transmitted disease, and this is one that can occur in a mother and not be properly diagnosed before the baby's born. If it is properly diagnosed, then that baby should be delivered by cesarean section. But if it's not properly diagnosed and the baby's delivered vaginally, that baby can catch herpes as it goes through the birth canal, or even before in some rare cases. So herpes simplex can not only infect the baby with sores like you see in a regular sexually transmitted disease, herpes simplex infection, but it can also get into the baby's brain, and it can cause herpes encephalitis, which can be extremely damaging. So there's lots of ways that babies can get infected. And this is just two examples of group B strep and herpes. If you have any additional questions about babies' infections or these two specifically, give us a call by clicking below. And you can get in touch with us and we'll answer whatever questions you have with regard to this. Thank you very much.